August 1994. Still a telemarketer. Can't remember if I was still dating an older woman, but there was a brand new Borders bookstore across the street from where I worked, so I was a happy camper. Loved Borders books. Let's get to what I read in August of 1994. But to do that, we have to go back a month. For those of you who watch this series, you may recall the last book that I read in July of 1994 was Carnal Hours by Max Allan Collins. It was a Nathan Heller book. And Nathan Heller's private eye, who Max Allan Collins would have get involved in these real-life crimes, unsolved mysteries. And in this particular case, it was the murder of Sir Harry Oakes in the Bahamas. So, Carnal Hours, Max Allan Collins was a fictionalized telling of this story. I read that at the very end of July. The first book I read in August was A Conspiracy of Crowns by Alfred de Marigny, I don't know how you pronounce his name, with Mickey Hershkowitz. And this is a nonfiction book about the murder of Sir Harry Oakes. The author, Alfred, however you say his name, was arrested for the murder. He was acquitted eventually, and but he was shunned by society, and it took him a long time to get a passport and things moved to the United States, and he wrote a book about this murder, about what went on. It was in 1943, I want to say. So after having read this fictionalized mystery about something I wasn't really familiar with, I decided I found a book that told the true story from someone who was there. Really interesting stuff. Next up, Walking Shadow by Robert B. Parker. It's a Spencer novel. Spencer and his longtime girlfriend, Susan Silverman, go to Port City to see a play, and someone is murdered on stage in front of everybody, but nobody sees who did it. I don't remember how the murder happened, and Spencer gets involved to solve the murder. It's not the greatest Spencer book, but it is Spencer by Robert Parker, so it's still pretty good. Then we have Dying in the Post-War World. Dying in the Post-War World by Max Allan Collins. And this is a collection of Nathan Heller short stories. So it's about Nathan Heller as a private detective in Chicago in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Just a bunch of short stories. I don't recall if each one is based on a real crime. I kind of assume they are, since that's the whole conceit of the series, the Nathan Heller series. But again, Max Allan Collins, great author. The Nathan Heller series, a great series. So, good stuff. Next up, excuse me, Street Sense for Women by Louis R. Mizzle Jr. This is a nonfiction book, there's a subtitle that I didn't write down, but it's about women staying safe. And basically, it's what it sounds like. It's a self-defense book for women. I don't remember where I heard of this. It's possible it was in the letters page of the comic book The Question, in the recommended reading list from the writer of The Question. It might have been there. It could have been something that was mentioned in some other book I read. But I heard about it somewhere, so I went to the library and got it. And it's about staying safe. What to do for women, what to do if, you're being mugged, or there's an attempted rape, or home invasion, or all of these different potential horrible scenarios, and what you should do to protect yourself, stay safe, what to do. Then we have The Widening Gyre by Robert B. Parker, another Spencer novel. Happen to have this one, obviously, because I'm showing it to you. And in this one, there's a guy running for Senate. He has seemingly the perfect politician's wife, but in her past there were problems with drugs and sex. somebody has her on videotape doing something, and the mob is trying to blackmail this guy to drop out of the race. So Spencer is hired to, put the kibosh on that, as they say. This is a really good one. It's an earlier one. Love, 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 like the first 10 or so. I could do a count someday maybe, but all these early ones I thought were fantastic. And then finally, another nonfiction book. So let's see. That's 6 books, 3 of them nonfiction. The last book is called A Gathering of Heroes by Gregory Alan Williams. Gregory Alan Williams is an actor. He was in, if you look up this book on Amazon, it says he was an actor in Baywatch, which I'm assuming they say because that's at the time this took place. But he's in tons of stuff. He's in recent stuff. I looked him up. Let's do that again, because he's in some good stuff. And I can't remember. I looked him up on IMDb. All right, people get to watch me on my phone. It's pretty exciting. I know. Let's see. Go to here. Gregory Alan Williams. Comes up quick since I just searched for him. Yeah, he's in Old School, Terminator Genesis, Brightburn. That was the one that stuck out to me because I really love that movie. So he's still making stuff. But back in 1992, I assume he was on Baywatch at the time. This is about the riots in California, April 29th, 1992. Make sure that's 2, not a 3. So these are the riots that happened when 4 white policemen were acquitted after beating the shit out of Rodney King during a traffic stop. And Gregory Alan Williams was there. He saved the life of a Japanese man. And this is his story of what went on and what he did, and just people stepping up, doing the right thing. Again, another one, I'm not sure how I came across this book. I may have just spotted it on the shelf at the library and thought it looked interesting. And it was really, really good, interesting book. I like reading this kind of thing, especially, it's a average person stepping up, being a hero. And of course, a lot of social discourse as well. So that's it. That's what we have. 3 nonfiction books, 3 mysteries, essentially, private eye stuff. So an interesting mix, I think, personally. So question for this video: what is your favorite type of nonfiction? If you read nonfiction, what is the type that you like? I'm very eclectic when it comes to that, just as I am with all of my reading. Excuse me. If you look at my nonfiction now, it's not as eclectic as it used to be, but a lot of pop culture and philosophy books. I have pop culture and science books. I have a lot of TV and movie behind the scenes kind of things. But I've read history books. I like science books. Quantum mechanics fascinates me. I've read stuff. It'll come up. Read stuff on neuroscience. So yeah, I dig all sorts of types of nonfiction, but I really do like. I was a philosophy major in school. I really, really love the pop culture and philosophy books. They cover such a wide range of pop culture that there's something, I think, for everybody. I've mentioned this before, I believe. Of course, most of mine, I've got things like superheroes in philosophy, a lot of like Deadpool in philosophy, Green Lantern in philosophy. I just recently got Black Panther in philosophy, but I also have Planet of the Apes in philosophy, Dungeons and Dragons, The Good Place, House, Frankenstein in philosophy, just that. But there's also, there's bands. I was at Half Price Books and they had U2 in philosophy. I'm not a big fan of U2, so I didn't pick that one up. There's poker in philosophy, baseball in philosophy. So all sorts of, you can find your pop culture fix to go with your philosophy. So I really, really dig those. And I like um, a lot of behind the scenes kind of things. Recently reviewed Sausages, the making of dog soldiers. And a little while ago, I read a book on the making of the movie Highlander. I have one about Tremors. So I dig that kind of stuff too. Obviously, I'm into pop culture. But again, I'll delve into history and science, and not as much true crime as I used to, but I enjoy it. And I have a few nonfiction books that I'm not. I guess sociology might be where they would fit in. Um, that I want to get to relatively soon. But what do you like if you're reading? If you're going to read nonfiction, what is it you like to read? I know true crime is really big, but let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. If you care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is at Ronin5757. My Instagram, excuse me, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, and occasionally t-shirts, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That is all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.